Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be teaching you the Hypopressives vacuum in 3 simple steps. So the first thing to say is that there are some contraindications to the apnea breath, which is the vacuum breath, which we're going to go through today. So it is best to work with a qualified coach or trainer, but I am aware most people want to have a little go, so we're just going to break it down into the basics here and you can just follow along and see how you get on. So the first thing we're going to look at is the inhale, then we're going to look at the exhale, and then we're going to look at actually putting it together and doing the vacuum breath as well. So each of those stages I'm just going to break down a little bit so it's hopefully easy to understand, so you can understand the concepts behind the technique and then you're going to be able to do it correctly. So the first thing is the inhale. Looking at what position you're going to be in when you're doing the inhale, the main thing is that you want your diaphragm and your pelvic floor to be lined up essentially on top of each other, and that means your ribs are over your pelvis. So if you are in a position where your ribs are tipped up like this, then obviously it's not going to be as good as when you've got your ribs down like this. So that's very basic, just looking at the posture just to make sure that you do it in a position which is going to just help you get it correctly. So the next thing is the inhale. You want to aim the air into the sides of your ribs and into your back. So most people when they inhale, we're going to get movement at the front of the chest, but it's more tricky sometimes to just get the inhale in a more 360 way, so looking at breathing into the sides, into the back. So when you take an inhale for the hypopressives, when we're just warming up, getting ready to do the vacuum, you breathe in through your nose for 3, so it's a really nice, steady, moderate strength inhale like this. So you're breathing in, and you can just hear it a little bit as well as the air comes in through your nose, and you're thinking about aiming it into the sides and into your back. Now for a lot of us when we first start, we're quite stiff around the rib cage, and so it can just take a while just to start to feel that you're actually getting some movement here. So you want the shoulders to stay down, so you don't want to be breathing in and trying to really force the inhale and come up like this. You want to just keep the shoulders down and think of it more as an extension of like your normal breath. So you're breathing in nice and steadily into the sides and into your back, creating that 360 movement there. So when you're just in a nice seated position, you can sit on a chair or sit on some cushions, you're going to breathe in through your nose nice and steadily for 3. So inhaling, and then just think about where that air is going. Okay, lovely. So the second thing we're going to be looking at now is the exhale. So the exhale is going to be through your mouth, and you want the exhale to be about twice as long as the inhale. So it is going to be slower, and you want that exhale to be sort of a light, moderate strength. So again, you can hear it as you're exhaling, but what you don't want to do is go beyond the point where almost like the extension of the normal breath, you've just exhaled. You don't want to then go on and push more air out. So when you do the exhale, you're going to count. So you're going to do inhale for 3, and then the exhale through your mouth. And you can see that as the breath fades away, I could then carry on and breathe out for longer like this. So inhaling, exhale, breath fades away. I could go on to push out more air out. Now, this can transfer positive pressure into the tummy and the pelvic floor area and basically increase pressure, so you get this almost bearing down on the pelvic floor, so this is what we want to avoid. So pushing all the air out for the hypopressive vacuum when we're looking at pelvic health isn't necessary, and we actually don't want to be doing it because you're going to find that even if you do get some improvements, you're unlikely to get the kind of level of improvements that you want to see with either your prolapse symptoms or your incontinence symptoms. So the exhale, you want to keep that really lovely and consistent. You want the breathing to be smooth. So again, just think about it as an extension of your normal breath. So you're breathing in for 3 through your nose. Aim the air into the sides and into your back. And then you exhale through your mouth. And it's almost like misting a window. So keep that jaw nice and relaxed. Let the exhale go, let it fade away, and then you're just going to come into the next inhale and exhale. And the cycles of breathing, you do an inhale, an exhale, another inhale and an exhale, and then the third one, so a third inhale and exhale, and then this is where we're going to have a look at the vacuum breath. Now, quite often it can take a while just to get all of these components together because you really want to do the breath work really, really well to get the improvements that you want. And we've got an amazing symptom improvement program where we teach you all of this and the poses. So do have a little look in the description for a link where you can find a coach, or you can work with myself. So after you've done the third exhale, you then want to pause to just let everything soften because there's no conscious drawing in of the tummy. And then we want to move the ribs sideways. And what this does is it basically taps into the synergy that we've got between the diaphragm and the pelvic floor just with normal breathing, and it makes it bigger. So 70% of our pelvic floor is activated through the nervous system just automatically. And that is the contraction we're getting with the pelvic floor to basically help to normalize and balance tone. So it's not going to over tighten, it's not going to be a problem if you've got a high tone pelvic floor. In fact, Hypopressives is great if you've got a high tone pelvic floor. It just helps to balance everything out and get the pelvic floor contracting as it's supposed to. But essentially we're making this synergistic movement between the pelvic floor and the diaphragm, just making it bigger. So when you want to start practicing the vacuum breath, we are looking at moving the ribs sideways consciously. So there are different ways that you can learn how to do like the rib stretch. So you're coming into this kind of rib opening movement, which basically makes this movement between the pelvic floor and the diaphragm bigger. Then I like to teach it with the rib stretch because it just feels a bit more natural and it feels a little bit more relaxing. So if you can do it that way, I would definitely go for that first. So the way to do it is basically to place your hands around your ribs on the sides. And what you're going to do is literally see if you can wiggle or move your ribs towards your hands. So we've got these intercostal muscles in our ribs and we can consciously think about moving our ribs towards our hands like this. So I'll show you. So I can move them. I can just move them consciously. I don't think I could do this when I first started doing hypopressive. So, but have a little go. See if you can just move them consciously towards your hands like this. So you can feel that movement. So essentially it's a movement of the ribs when we breathe in, but obviously when we normally breathe in, we don't think about moving our ribs. Everything is just happening automatically. So once you feel like you're getting a bit of movement through the ribs, and it doesn't have to be very much, we can put all of those 3 steps together. So we can do the inhale, the exhale, we can do the 3 cycles of those, and then we can hold the breath out, pause, and then do the rib stretch. So I'm just going to show you now what it looks like, and I'll just talk you through as well. So hands on the sides of your ribs, keep the thumbs around the back so you can really feel you've got some expansion through the sides and into the back of the rib cage. You're nice and tall, you haven't tipped up, so you know that your diaphragm is over your pelvic floor, ribs over your pelvis, and we'll just do some nice slow breaths here. So inhaling, so thinking about it as an extension of your normal breath, in through your nose for 3. Exhale through your mouth. Ribs are coming back down. Inhale again. And exhale. So it's really nice and smooth. And then one more inhale. Exhale. And you're going to hold your breath, pause, soften your tummy, stretch your ribs towards your hands. So what you don't want to do is raise the shoulders as you're breathing in. You want to really aim the air into the lower part of the rib cage, and then you'll feel that you're expanding through the ribs as well. But start at the bottom, and again with the rib stretch, start expanding through the bottom of the rib cage here. So we'll do this again. So a nice slow inhale and exhale. So you can hear it, breathing into the sides and into your back. And exhale. And then one more here, so breathing in. Gonna exhale nice and slowly. Then you're going to pause, soften your tummy, stretch your ribs towards your hands, keeping that length. And then when you want to take a breath in, just let yourself breathe in naturally into the sides of your ribs, which will just give you a little more mobility through the diaphragm. So that is the Hypopressive breathwork in 3 simple steps. Don't worry if you can't get it. It can take quite a lot of practice, and you do really want to have the feedback from a coach to check that you're doing it properly. But I know that it's really nice to have a go at the technique just to see what it feels like, see if you can get it, see if you can start to feel that the lift that Hypopressives creates through the whole of like the pelvic and the tummy area as well. So I hope that was helpful. Do let me know how you got on in the comments, and I will see you again next time. Take care.